Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well going into this holiday weekend where we remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom. And thank you to everybody that is still active duty, protecting our country, and those who have served in the past. Now, getting into this, we end up taking a lot of things for granted, actually. We take it granted that you're going to go to the store and get a Masterpiece Transformer. I remember 10 years ago, I couldn't have thought of a world where there wasn't going to be another Masterpiece Transformer at retail. And then we take for granted YouTubers that are going to be here making YouTube videos forever. Then we lose like HCC 798 from the Joe group. We lose Nate O'Brien for the finance group. We lose some people that are no longer making videos, are no longer there. We take all that for granted. But I took this Masterpiece stuff for granted, and it ended. We're going to discuss why we no longer have Masterpiece at retail. For those of you who started collecting like 2020, you feel like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no Masterpiece at retail. Never saw that. But we'll discuss the end of that and what the possible future could be, how it could return. We've seen signs of life, Masterpiece retail, and with changes of Takara, we could see this stuff coming up. We'll talk about it coming up. Like when I reminisce on these videos from the past, figures from the past, that I always start with MPO1 because that's where it all started. So I'm going to start with the Starscream. I remember when the first Starscream MPO3 came out, and that thing was like a teal color, and I didn't want it. I was not going to buy that at all. I'm going to wait, and it seemed like forever till we got the proper colors for Starscream for a U.S. audience. And then we got that brought to Walmart for $55. Now, these Seekers were well over 100, if not 200, to get them from Takara. And it was hard. You had to import them, and you paid extra to get them. But here they are on Walmart shelves for $55. That was very exciting. I remember going to Toys R Us and seeing a Grimlock and getting excited. And I think out the door, Grimlock was like $75. But then I started learning some new secrets about Toys R Us stuff. That you could do a buy one, get one half off sale. So then you could end up getting two for, not 2 for 1, but it's 2 for 1.5 is kind of exactly how it worked out. But I didn't really take advantage of that until we got around to Rodimus. So the Rodimus was, I think, $59.99. Buy one, get one half price, makes 2 for $90. That's an amazing deal, and I like the color scheme on the US better. Maybe I like it because that's the one I have, and that's what I look at every day on my shelf, but these were fun times. It wasn't just fun because you could get them for a half, and in some cases a quarter of what you were having to import them for. And granted, with this guy, he didn't come with the trailer, he didn't come with the Winnebago parts, but I didn't need all that. I didn't care. I just want to figure out my shelf. You know, back then, my mind was going wild with speculation of what's going to be next year. And, we're getting 2 in the same year. Will we get 3 in the same year? And it was exciting. And I got to tell you that at that time, getting a Masterpiece figure was a huge event. It wasn't like, hey, which Masterpiece figure did I get this week? I got 3 this month, 5 this month. That's really cool. Really excited about the 5 I got this month. It's like, I haven't gotten a new Masterpiece figure this year. This is the first one of the year. And it was exciting. It was fun. Even though I felt like $60 was too much for these Carbots, I still bought into most of them. I did get a lot of them as KOs, and it was nice to get official options for a relatively decent price at Toys R Us. But with all of this, I miss that. I really do. The absolute culmination of the greatest value ever offered in a Masterpiece bundle at retail. Well, you might also disagree with me, but I think this Soundwave was $120. You got the Soundwave. You got all 5 cassettes. Prior to this, you'd have to spend $200 on a Soundwave. You'd have to spend $75 each on the other 2 cassette sets. And that added up to Mike wasn't spending that money. But when this came out for $120, I thought it was a no-brainer. When it came out for $120, buy one, get one half off sale, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get that. And it was exciting, it's fun, and I still have one. I sold all my extras off, didn't really need to have extras. because I knew Fans Toys was coming with theirs. But this is pre third party doing any of this stuff. I remember Optimus Prime, the MP10 coming out, and of course I passed on them, and I had 2 in my hands, and I thought, ooh, I'll show back up when they have a buy one get one half off sale. Buy 2 that way. So I screwed up on that one, but hey, it's water under the bridge, and I didn't like the lower legs. There was a few things I didn't like about it, and I think I probably would have bought it if they had a different pose on them in there instead of his chest open. But with that, this I thought was like the beginning of a new era of retail, but it sort of was the end of it. I mean, this is really the last one I remember showing up at retail, and once this sold out, the prices skyrocketed on it, and I don't remember any coming after it. If some might have, but this was a huge challenge for like 3 years to get my hands on one for under $300 when I had a $100 one in my hands. But those days, they were fun, they were exciting, and if you slept on something, you really paid the price. But will those days return? All right, so the reason that those days left was really Toys R Us. The big thing about it was that Toys R Us would take on exclusives, big ticket item exclusives. It's almost like they craved big ticket item exclusives. They wanted to be over the top. They wanted to have something no one else had. You had to go to Toys R Us just for this. And they did it with the Masterpiece Transformers. They did it with Star Wars vintage collection vehicles, the big Millennium Falcon, and then they repackaged it into the retro kind of packaging, which was what everybody really wanted in the first place, but charged double the amount because it had different packaging. And there's a lot of other things you can say. It's their quantities, their logistics, and their expense ratios higher, all of those kinds of things. But still, looking at all of this, it was fun. It was a fun time. Even if you passed on and waited for a sell, it was fun. You knew there'd be some sort of sell going. But once they went out of business, was it 2018 or something like that? That's when we saw really sort of the end of all of this with Masterpiece Transformers. I think in the last year, they had a Bumblebee. They had a Bumblebee going, and they had another Carbot repaint going. And with all of that, I wasn't buying all those again because I already got them from my other sources. I didn't know Toys R Us was going to have them. But it's an end of an era. It was an end of an era, but I just assumed Target and Walmart would pick up the slack. So we'll get into talking about Target here in a bit, but the problem with Walmart is really conscious about being a budget option. It's their image. It's the way they present themselves. Even though when you walk in and you start looking at prices, you're like, I can find this on Amazon cheaper, or I just don't feel like that's a great price for the product. They hold MSRPs for their companies, and they will take loss leaders. But pretty much if a video game system has an MSRP at this, they sell it for that. If a video game has an MSRP, they sell it for that until they negotiate some sort of a special Black Friday deal, and they get them down to like $10 games and $20 games and stuff like that. But they're scared of a $100 price point for a toy. The evidence is in this Siege Jetfire. So the Commander class, this was the first Commander class, and it's an amazing Commander class, but they did not have any in Walmart for a long time. People were only getting them online and distributors. And then all of a sudden, bam, they started showing up in massive amounts at Walmart's. And within 2 weeks, Walmart clearanced it from $80 down to 44 and some change. And that showed me that they are terrified of having a very expensive item in their store for whatever reason. It could have also been that this item was held up and it just was supposed to be on store shelves 6 months earlier or something along those lines, and so it already hit its clearance time frame. But I thought it was odd. They just clearanced them all out almost overnight. It's what it felt, but after about 2 weeks. And they don't carry $80 Commander class like they used to. Yes, some people that live in the land of plenty say they find them on their shelves. I've not seen Commander class on Walmart shelves anywhere around here since this guy. Ironically, they'll let this Coronation Starscream sit on their shelves for $55, which it's a $30 Voyager that adds a few parts, and now it's double the price almost at $55, and it just sits and rots at retail. It's a good figure, it's a good set, but most people already had the $30 Voyager, and it just was repacked, slight differences to it, and then added some parts. I mean, a lot of people didn't want to double dip into it, and I don't blame them. And double dip for double the price. I don't blame them. And with that, I didn't double dip for double the price. I waited till I found it for like $15 at, what was it, a Ross or an Ollie's or both. But with that, Walmart's so weird, so strange. They have not clearanced this out that I've seen anywhere, even though Ross and Ollie's have gotten this, and they charge only $15 for a $55 item. So the days of getting maybe the Secret 3.0 as Walmart exclusives, that would have been awesome. I mean, if you asked me in 2014 and I said, hey, in 2023 or 2022, whenever those came out, that we got the 3.0 Seekers, and I'd have said, well, hey, I can't wait till we get the Walmart version, and that'll be awesome. We'll go pick them up for $55 each. And that's not gonna happen, evidently. And it's sad, but why not? Why not at least 70 or 60? See, Walmart can negotiate with Hasbro and Takara, and it's really brought over here by Hasbro. They could have negotiated a $60 price point. Everyone could have made money on that after they produced a high enough quantity. Think about this. Think about if you got 10 of them total getting shipped to each of the 5,000 Walmarts. That's 50,000 units. Not to mention having a couple thousand online, 10,000 online or something. It really ups the quantity that's produced, and that lowers the overall individual price point. They could have done it, but I think they're afraid. I don't think that they believe that there's a market. Now enter Target. Target is really interesting is the fact that they have taken on the NPM movie stuff for the most part. And so I've seen some of the stuff show up there. I've also seen some of the stuff, the NPM movie stuff show up at Ross, which is weird. And they show up for a really good price at Ross, $25 and $40. And what are we talking about here? NPM movie, I think this Starscream was there. I don't collect the NPM stuff. I report on it. I find it fascinating that it's at retail. I'm not 100% sure what hit Target and what didn't hit Target because it's not there very long. Target has this weird thing where they barely keep it on the shelf, maybe 2 months or something, and then they clearance it. And sometimes they take it to the end cap and clearance it, but they clearance it. And they only get like 2 in. It's not like they're getting 15 or 20 of them in. They're getting like 2 in, and then if they don't sell, they clearance them. So I think that the fact that they've clearanced them so fast, so frequently, that even Target feels like these are a fail. But we got more NPM stuff coming down the road, and if it shows up at Target, it'll be interesting. But then there's one more or two more refreshing little changes going on with Takara. With Takara switching from MP to NPM only, or MPG only is starting with this, and you kind of say, well, what else is MPG? And we know that there's other things they've made in the past as MPG. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I don't see this Genrai going to Target at all. The $300 price point, I don't think that they can negotiate $300 down to $100 or $120. But I could see other things in the future. Not this Trainbot set either. I don't think that they believe the U.S. market is as interested in it as they would like it to be. But other stuff coming in the future could be possibilities. There's possibilities of other figures coming in the future, more simplified, less expensive, less part count, and that would be perfect and primed for retail. But I have to tell you that once they really introduced this T-Spark project, that sparked some thoughts of mine. And I really didn't have all the thoughts immediately. I kind of put it in the back burner, but the more I think about this T-Spark, and they're straight up copying the designs of Flame Toys, and they're making them transformable, which is very interesting. I mean, it's one of the things Takara does is make things transform. But what about retail? Could this have a retail presence? The reason I even bring it up is because it's Flame Toys, it's modern, there's sort of IDW, there's some sort of media backing it, there's something more modern and relevant to this. These do look more modern. They're not trying to sell us 84 style figures, which is of course 1984 to 1989, around that time frame is the stuff that I like the most. But they want to appeal to a broad audience, a modern audience. So let me show you what's at retail right now. I remember seeing tons of these Flame Toys model kits at Hobby Lobby. Now I only see now because I don't check Hobby Lobby hardly at all for anything, but now I see the Flame Toys Optimus and Megatron still there. They still have them available. They are $55 sets, and they were probably really good. I've never put one together, and I hear it takes about 2 hours to put one together. But they had a whole bunch of other ones. They had all kinds of other ones. They clearanced those out. But this has a retail presence. This is something similar. And it's Flame Toys. Takara's making Flame Toys designs. And this currently has a retail presence. Could the other stuff have a retail presence? That's what I've been thinking about. And I believe it's a possibility in the future, but I can't make any guarantees. So the good old days where it was fun to walk into a Toys R Us and find a Masterpiece Transformer. And then it was even more exciting when they had the buy one, get one half off sale, which I ramped up my Toys R Us looking when they had the buy one, get one half off sale of all Transformers. Those days are over. They're gone. But the future might look a little bit different. It might be a little bit more fun. Which is why I appreciate and like Shozi so much. Shozi offers great prices. Shipping takes a little bit longer than getting it from a U.S. retailer, but saving what adds up to the average collector saving, getting almost 5 figures for free because the prices are so much lower for the third-party stuff for the most part. It is definitely a godsend to save so much money on Transformers if you collect this stuff. But Shozi, and of course remember TH reviewer code if you want to help Titanium Hanger out. But I'm curious what you guys think about this retail thing. Do you ever see Masterpiece at retail again? Is this something that you think is a possibility? Did it die with MP10? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And Titanium Hanger out.